actually bring them off the shelf because some of them have been sitting for a minute, and I think it's only fair because this week we're talking about 3 film cameras that maybe you should think about, maybe you shouldn't, but I definitely would purchase them a second time, maybe even if they were more expensive, because they're awesome. So let's talk about them really quick. So first up on the chopping block is the Contax T2. Now this is one of the most expensive point and shoot film cameras out there, and it is the most questioned as to whether it is worth it or not, because at time of recording and generally speaking, the secondhand market, this would cost about $1,000. So for a lot of people, when you hear point and shoot camera and $1,000, there's got to be something there, because why would you ever consider something like this? Really, it's a shelf piece, so that's going to raise some of the price. It is one that we've talked about back on the channel, and in its history, there have been a couple of points when that price has been raised because of there's some celebrity usage, which is still kind of out there, and that was the point that I made in that video. So I'm not going to bring it up necessarily here, but it is something to mention here that this camera directly is a shelf piece. It's a piece of art in itself. So for that, you're going to pay a little bit of a higher premium. But for me, what it comes down to is the fact that not only is it point and shoot, not only is it portable, not only is it pretty, but it's also functioning. It functions really well. You get a little bit of function and feature in a point and shoot that you don't get other places. The fact that you get a little bit of comp exposure on the dial over here, you get your ability to adjust a little bit of your aperture, 2.8 to f16 on the lens. You get a little bit of choice there, which is really nice for a point and shoot film camera. One for me that kind of makes it worth it. At first, I would say it's absolutely crazy, and it still is. It is outrageously overpriced. However, if you are crazy enough and you like film or film cameras enough, it's one to consider. But for me, I would purchase it again because it's a very awesome talking piece, but more than that, it is a great film camera, and it is one that I take literally all the time, even though it's super expensive, because I just trust it. It works really well, and for me, that's enough. That's worth it. I mean, I spend $800 on a cell phone, and the pictures look mediocre. I spend $1,000 on a camera that it's a dedicated camera, and I carry it just as much as my phone, and the pictures actually look good. So for me, it makes sense. Now, next up is the Canon EOS 3. This is probably my favorite SLR that I have ever used. I say that because in digital photography today, and really just anything that deals with digital photography, the fact is that you can check your images so quickly, so you know when your autofocus or your exposure's off. And we know that film isn't like that. So when you have a camera that you can really trust and know that you got the image, it's awesome because you know that you got the image even when you can't check the back of the camera, like we can digitally. So for a camera like this to have that kind of trust for me is huge. It's a functioning camera. It is great. It is the best camera that I have probably, and inevitably it is not even the prettiest. It's not a shelf piece, but it is a workhorse. This camera works perfectly because it's interchangeable with my mirrorless cameras using the EF system. So it's older glass, but it's great glass. I use it on all of these videos. So if you ever have the question of, is EF glass any good? Now you know. If you like the way that these videos look, these are all shot on EF glass. So beyond that, it also has all the features to make it a fully functioning manual camera if you want it, or you can go simple mode and go auto if you want to. It's totally up to you. And for anyone that was questioning whether I would pick it again, I would absolutely buy it like 5 other times, and I would give this thing as a gift because this is the best camera that is like, it's like a pro camera in my mind. Inevitably, it has all the functions and features that I want. It gives me the ability that I can trust, and that for me is the biggest thing. It has all of the usual things that you would ask for in a camera, but it has one thing that some cameras, even most cameras I would say, don't have, and that is my trust. So I would absolutely buy it again. And last but not least, I wanted to take a camera that I absolutely love, but also is super different than anything else I own. And that's where we get the Canon 514 XL. Now, I chose this one because it's weird and wacky, and it's the only Super 8 camera I use or have ever used. but it is one that I absolutely love and I would purchase again in a heartbeat because of how awesome it is and how super simple it is. And it's one that you can hand to your normie friends or your family at the barbecue, and they're going to enjoy playing with it and you're going to enjoy seeing the footage, and so are they. Inevitably, this is the camera that is kind of like the point and shoot, is the one that anyone can use, and it is super fun to actually get into. It has virtually no function, virtually no feature. Really, all you get is the ability to choose your daylight or tungsten based film, your frames per second, and it says self timer, I guess, if you wanted to do that. I haven't. Beyond that, you get a manual focus lens with this little knobby here, and that's it. It has a battery to show you essentially how much feed or how much tape you have left or film, and about how long that's going to last. And it spins the little motor on the inside, and that is generally it. But this camera alone is probably one of my favorites again, and it is actually not one of my cheapest. This was probably one of my most expensive, even though it is probably one of the oldest again. It's just one that I absolutely love because it is the conversation starter. Older people have absolutely seen these and used them back in the day, so they like talking to you about it, and people that are like our age and younger enjoy them because they've never seen them, never used them, but you've seen the filters and the things that we put on Instagram. So it's, like I said, the one that I would give to anyone. And for me, that alone, being able to share the experience with anyone, makes it worth it. So that's what I have. Those are the 3 cameras in my entire collection that I would buy again all over, even if they were more expensive, purely because of how much I like them individually. The Contax T2 is a shelf piece that works. The EOS 3 is an SLR that I can trust. And the 514 XL is a Super 8 masterpiece. All 3 have their differences. All 3 are completely dislike, but they're ones that just make me so happy. And I think that in itself is worth it, even if they were more money. So hopefully this helps you out. Hopefully you'll consider some of this. If you haven't already, if you are in the market for any of these, if you're watching this in 2039 and the prices have doubled or tripled, hopefully if I still have mine, you should reach out because maybe I'll definitely sell it to you and buy something else. But if not, and you're watching this more recently, then hopefully the prices haven't skyrocketed on you and maybe the American economy hasn't blown up, and therefore you should go out and check these out. But beyond all of that, I just want to say thank you so much for checking this one out. Make sure to hit me up on all the usual socials. The links are down in the description as per usual. And with that, I'm going to say peace out, and I will see you as per usual in the next one. Peace.